everyone. I know some of you folks because for years my wife and I were members of the club here. I live over on Staunton, so I'm not very far. You're speaking of your daughter at App, is that correct? I just graduated from there, and she wound up getting an internship with all people, Jimmy Fowler. Don't ask me how. Didn't come from my side, but so she wound up staying up there, and now she's working for a company that does all the talent for Drew Barrymore. So we went up to visit. I'm scared to death up there traveling around. I'm supposed to be the protector, and there she is all over that city. It's just amazing to me. But congratulations for your daughter over there. Again, I'm Steve Carr. I'm the chief deputy for the department, so I'm like the number 2 person behind Sheriff Rogers, which means all the headaches run through me, and I try to filter them out, and he just hears all the happy stuff. We have over 650 some employees, $71 million budget, and it's a challenge. But I feel like we've done a lot of good work. The sheriff's put a lot of good special teams together. We have a set team. We have a street crimes unit. And they have just really done some fabulous work. I don't want to steal the sheriff's thunder. He's got some numbers on that. But during COVID, hope this is good. You know, we didn't get any kind of a breakout of COVID in our jail. We put a lot of things in place where several filters where you had to go through just one entrance. We limited visitation to just the televised visitation. Made all our people, of course, wear a mask. We isolated new intakes. And so I was just very happy that we didn't have a breakout of COVID because a lot of facilities around us have breakouts. We house in Greensboro, right now our numbers are really down from when the pandemic started. They haven't, thank goodness, rebounded yet. But we're around 600 and some odd, only around 620. In High Point, we're a little over 200 people. So you imagine we've got just the logistics of keeping all those people in the medical needs and feeding. It's just, we really have a challenge. I've been in law enforcement since 1980. August 1 of 80, I got sworn in. I know I should be committed, right? I'm still, most people get to 55 and like, hey, peace out. But I actually retired in 2015. And when Sheriff Rogers won the election, he asked me to come back. So I had retired and taken a job with a company called Davidson's. For you long-time residents of Greensboro, you remember Davidson's is the corner of Florida Street and High Point Road. You remember that? Yeah. They were a gun distributor, and I worked there through high school and through college, and then I went in law enforcement. And I happened to be riding my motorcycle when I stopped at Philpott Dam, and down walks the owner of Davidson's, Brian Tucker, and he said, "You getting ready to retire?" I said, "I am." And next thing I knew, I was taking the job. So I retired last day of April 2015. The next day, went to work for him. And I was a Mid-Atlantic rep, so I was traveling Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina. They're down out of work. They just do guns. But just to tell you, they did $100 million with Rotary last year I was with them. So that was one of the big dealers or manufacturers they represented. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. Sheriff Rogers asked me to come back. I had to suspend my retirement, and it cost me a little bit of money. But my wife said, if you could help him, go back and help him. And so I just appreciate the opportunity. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I don't know if it's like yin and yang. I don't know how it works, but it works out great for us. So thank you guys. I'm going to let Sheriff Rogers come up and have a good one.
Good morning. Good morning. That's what's up. Early bird. Early birds got up early this morning. They got started. I see some of the younger birds in here that I spoke to earlier. Good morning. I get it. Nevertheless, I won't take much of your time this morning. I do want to say thank you for allowing us to come in this morning to bring the state of Gifford County. But first and foremost, before I go there, I will always, regardless where I go, always acknowledge my God. Very grateful for God for allowing me to be who I am, where I'm at, and where I'm going. I will say that again. For where I'm at, where I've been, where I'm at, and for where I'm going. And I'm very grateful for that. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you once again. And I get started on the fact of what we are doing in this great county of Gifford. One of the first things that you've seen, one of the first things that you have seen is diversity. When you look at the table, you see Chief Paul, who just spoke. You see Sergeant Albanor, who is a Haitian female from Haiti. You see retired Tony Bumpers, who retired from the state, who is our accreditation manager with the Sheriff's Office. You see Tracy Nelson, who has been at the Sheriff's Office for 21 years, I think it's been now, 22 years. She's been here 22 years, worked in the CSI division, and now she's working with the CRU division with Sergeant Avenor. And we have Mike Leonard, the guy that's walking around taking the photos. We're not looking for who's on the America's Most Wanted. Mike is our storyteller for the Sheriff's Office through photograph and video. So he is the guy who goes out and takes all of the pictures and the videos for the things that you see on our website. If you have not been on our website, please visit our website. Visit our website with the Guilford County Sheriff's Office as well as our social media sites. We are I don't know if I want to use the word cutting edge, but I will say we are a changing organization. We are an organization that has begun to bring change to this great county. Chief Parr mentioned the fact that he is a Republican and I am a Democrat. This is not about a political speech by no means, so I'll make sure you understand that. But what I will say, we have come together to work together, and he and I worked together before I became sheriff and before he became the chief. Why I say that? Time out for one party there, one party there, and nobody gets along. The county of Guilford is not about these, ours, or I. It is about the fact that Guilford County Sheriff's Office bring a change to the mindset of the people, beginning with inside the office of Guilford County Sheriff. Let me repeat that. The Guilford County Sheriff's Office bring a positive change, beginning with inside the organization, rather, of the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. If you've never heard me say it before, let it be the first, and I promise you it will not be the last. Mental health is real. Mental health is real. When the men and women that are in uniform and they address issues within the county, whether it's in the municipality area or in the rural section of Guilford County, we want to make sure that they are together holistically. Let me repeat that. I do a lot of repeating. I do. And the reason I do that because I want to make sure that I get my points across. Mental health is real. And if officers or deputies, mindsets and physical being and emotional being is not in order, they can't help the community. So what we've done within the Sheriff's Office is make sure that we address by nurturing the people that are working with inside the organization. What has that done? That have allowed us to create teams, task force teams, with our DWI task force team, our SET team, and our street team units to be able to get out here and help bring a greater and safer Guilford County. I would tell you, at one time I was wondering where we was going within Guilford County. Every time I looked in the news, every time I looked in the paper, every time I looked at the report, there was gun violence, black on black criminal crimes, real talk, drug overdoses, opioid, mental health, suicide. And nobody really wanted to talk about it. We have to talk about it. For being the sheriff of Guilford County and being able to be surrounded by the great men and women that have been blessed to be working with, to be on this great team, it has helped me as a leader to actually get a chance and look and evaluate myself as well. That's what Judge, you know what I'm talking about? When you see people coming to your courtroom, we focus on the fact of those that are coming in because they're either a defendant or a victim, or a offender, or a suspect, whatever you want to call it. But we forget about the men and women that work inside, that deal with people. And we've had to learn to bring hope and love to them. What have we done within Guilford County? Well, since 2018, we've collected a little bit over $6 million in drugs. $6 million. That's a lot. Not as much as I like to get, because I know it's coming through Guilford County. We have several highways, byways, and back roads that I do know, and we know that they're traveling, but we just have not had the opportunity to get them off. Will we get them off? No. But we sure doing our best. We have our interdiction team that are working at the FedEx or the airport, that works the highways, the rural section of the county, within inside the city limits, of collecting as much opioid and marijuana, fentanyl as we can. Great team. Teaching, coaching, training. The sheriff's office have began to make sure that our deputies, our frontline deputies, our leadership teams are going through training. De-escalation training, mental health crisis training, drug overdoses, drug opioid training. There's a lot of training that people don't know or don't think about, but we have to go through. On a daily basis in Guilford County, we average about 2.5 to 3 people per day, drug overdoses. Multiply that by 365 days in a year. That's a lot. I won't ask anybody to raise their hand, but I'm sure we know, including myself, know someone that are struggling with opioids, marijuana, drugs. They're also struggling with mental health crises. That's where the sheriff's office continue to make sure that we are part of the lives of the men and women within this county. We have a reentry program. Those that have been incarcerated need to come back out. Come back out. You can raise a child, but you can't make them do. And then what happens when they get off track? Do you turn your back on them? No, you don't turn your back on them. You want to make sure they get the job. So our reentry program is doing very well. Anybody heard about the reentry program? I'll be done in about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna let you ask questions, because I'm sure you have some. Anybody heard of the reentry program? Okay. Oh. And it's within our SOD, our stats, I'm gonna read some stats off to you. 2019, we began to have, we dealt with the COVID, we dealt with the civil unrest. 2019, narcotics seized with seized over a little over 2,300 pounds. Pills, 601. This in 2019. Firearms, 27. Street value came to a little over $51,000. Currency, we recovered almost $700,000. I'm gonna skip over to 2020 and give you some 2020 down to 22. So 22, the same thing with narcotics, we seized a little over 2,300 pounds. Pills, we was low on pills. Firearms, we received 120, we seized 126 firearms. Street value, $51,000. Currency, a little over $1 million. In 21, and these are times that COVID is going on and civil unrest is really going on. Unprecedented times for law enforcement. 21, we had a little over almost 4,000 pounds of narcotics seized, pills a little over 415. We also had firearms, 172 firearms seized, Street value of almost $93,000. The currency, total currency for all, almost a little over $4 million. And then we get down to 22, here, the year that we're in now. Narcotics that we received so far is a little over 3,000 pounds in narcotics. The pills, almost 400 pills that's been seized, and firearms, a little over 107 firearms, and a street value of almost $75,000, and the U.S. and the currency that we received has seized so far is close to $800,000. So a total amount for narcotics paying out to like almost 12,000 pounds, pills almost 1,300 pills, firearms almost 500 firearms, street value close to $3 million, and the currency seized almost $7 million. These are things that we able to confiscate, take out the street to make our streets better, make our communities better. Only way we can do that is through the fact of making sure that we continue to have dialogue with our county commissioners. We continue to come out to events, come out to thank y'all for the great breakfast. That breakfast was great. It really was. And the guy that came out, I'm just a little sidebar, the guy that set it up, he did an awesome job setting it up, and the cook back there did an awesome job fixing it. So it was very good. So when we look at things like that, we look at the fact that we want to make sure that we continue to be engaged within our community. Our community resource unit has been very busy for the last 2 years, I must say, probably 2.5 years. And with that being said, there's a lot to be said, but I don't want to hold you up because I know you have an hour that you want to do this. So I want to give you a chance to ask questions. Please don't hold any questions that you have to yourself. Any questions that you have, we're a transparent organization. Please ask your question. If you don't want to ask me in public, you can ask us, call us at the office, or pull us to the side and ask us. Okay? Any questions?
Are you short-staffed, and how's your recruitment?
That's a great question. I was on my way to cover that, but I guess I deal with it so much. We are short-staffed. We are more short-staffed on our detention services side than we are patrol side. The way that we're coming along with that is the fact that we continue to market, we continue to advertise the sheriff's office, and continue to advertise the job. Is it coming? Sure. The numbers are dwindling down, but you know, you may have, it's a numbers game. So I may have 25 applicants, 17 of them are qualified and able to go through the process, get them ready to come in for orientation. You have 8 resign. It's a numbers game. So we will always continue to battle a numbers game in this day and time, I truly believe. Go ahead.
I do want to add one other thing, because personnel falls under me, so I know the numbers, the up-to-date numbers. We're less than 10 sworn people down. So think about Greensboro PD, there are 150 sworn short. I think it says something, we're less than 10 sworn, there are 150 sworn down. Detention's always going to be a battle. People letting them the job, it's a tough job. You're locked up with folks that have broken the law all day. You're in there with them all day for a 12-hour shift, so it is hard to keep detention. We inherited the jail. The jail is a lot bigger than it should have been, so it takes a lot more people to run the jail. I don't remember the numbers we can house, I think up to 1,000 people, or 1,000, we got 600, so it's not even half full. And if it wasn't so big, we wouldn't have to have so many people. The other thing is pay. You know, you talk about a numbers game, you know, the county commissioners are pretty good to us. They'll raise our pay. Then Greensboro, Forsyth, Winston, Burlington, they all get a big pay raise. So we're constantly trying to keep up. They just did a big locked-in study. I think that if the commissioners vote on it, we're looking at getting across the board 8%. But then you look at Burlington PD, they just got across the board 12%. So it's hard to compete. You know, but a lot of people that get in this profession do find a home, and they seem to stay with one organization. We did lose back in, I think it was 2012, health insurance. When I say that, if you did, used to be if you did your career with the agency, when you retired, you had health insurance. Now they don't offer that. Gilbert County didn't offer it. The Highway Patrol doesn't offer it. So a lot of agencies have started slimming down these benefits. Some departments have started bringing them back. I hope our commissioners will consider, because that's a big factor. You get ready to retire and look at, I'm not 65 yet, and I've got to pay $1,000 health insurance every month for myself, not for the family. That's a big factor. So anyway, that's the numbers. I didn't mean to interrupt, but they fall under me, and so I think we're doing really good on that. Less than 10 sworn short on that.
And with that being said, I'm giving numbers for the fact of how crime has decreased. 2018, 2019, crime fell 4% in Gilbert County. 2019, 2022, it fell again another 6%. So it continues to fall, but we have to continue to work together as a community and along with the organization. Yes, sir.
I was going to ask if there's a big distinction between county and city. Like, you know, you guys cover the city too, right? You support the city, or y'all function outside of the city only?
So the original plan for the sheriff's office, or when the sheriff was formed many years ago, has always been to make sure civil, the jails, making sure criminal stuff is in place for laws that are broken. What we do now with the county and Gilbert High Point Police Department and Greensboro Police Department, we work collaboratively together with them to make sure that we can continue to work as a whole law enforcement organization. What happens, High Point is short, Greensboro is short, Gilbert County Sheriff's Office is short. So what we do, we come together to work assignments, or we come together to answer calls in the different areas of the county. We are primarily responsible for the rural section, but as the sheriff of Gilbert County, we have taken on a new approach, outlook, and saying, hey, those criminal activities, those gun violence that are going on within inside the city are coming through the county, through the back roads. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we can do as much as we can to prevent that from spilling out into the county. Hope that answers some of the questions. Judge.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions about the interagency cooperation you've undertaken and are working with on a regular basis in the county, like Guilford's. I guess another question I could throw up to you, Sheriff. In this age where we're coming out of COVID, and so many folks are still trying to get their bearings again, how do you see the role of your agency and your deputies every day in connecting people and community relations, in communicating how we can go forward in a healthy way as a county?
Yes, sir.
With its relations with one another, the relations with law enforcement, and the economic and mental health improvement of which you spoke earlier.
So one of the things that we did, I'm gonna go to the mental health piece of it. We just hired this week two doctors to come on to work with our behavioral health within the side of the organization, the sheriff's office in the county. County outreach, community resource unit. Our community resource unit meet with people all the time. Please hear me. I'm not saying that, just saying. We are scheduled, we are booked throughout the entire year. Why? Because what happened before, people were only used to seeing the deputies or the sheriff's office or law enforcement in their communities enforcing the law. We had to bring a change. And the change was to bring community engagement, bridge that gap. How do you bridge that gap? Happy dollars. You take happy moments. You find people where they're at. You meet them where they're at. Whether they're struggling with life, if they're having a great time or not. You meet them where they're at. You love on them, you listen to them, because every one of us in here have a story. And that has been one of the greatest aspirations that I have seen as being the sheriff, that we've got an opportunity to get out here in the community and meet people where they're at. And that helps bridge the gap. It also helps people to feel comfortable about talking to people in uniform. We don't want the children, we don't want a person that is dealing with drug opioid addiction marijuana problems or mental health crises, want to have a change of heart, of life, and afraid to walk up to a deputy to ask for help. But we have to continue to work with that group, and we'll continue. I hope I answered your question, Judge. We just do what we do when we can. Yes, sir.
Recently in the newspaper, it looks like we're supposed to house anywhere from 600 to 800 illegals of various ages, supposedly used, supposedly not used, depending on what you hear. Right out there at the Hebrew Academy on Jefferson Road. Have you changed your plans? Are you making any plans, or have you made any consideration of housing 800 people we know very little about out there in that nice area?
Well, I thank you for the question. You know, my plan has always, I've been consistent. I had to learn what I was saying. I had to learn the immigration, as we call it, undocumented. I had to learn the community. We are not an ICE, I am not an ICE agent. Hold that thought. Please listen to me carefully, please. I am not going around or sending deputies around, locking down communities, looking and seeing who is or who's not documented. Hold that thought. If and when or anyone violates the law, documented or undocumented, in the great county of Guilford, I would deal with that. We will do our job. If and when we arrest those that are not documented, they are held within the sheriff's detention services or the resident halls, as I call them, until they can prove documentation of who they are. ICE is contacted to see if there's warrants on them, if they need to be taken back from where they come from. Please hear me. I want regulation when it comes to border patrol, border control, whatever we call it. I want it. But I will not get out here and waste taxpayer dollars and put a team together just looking for people that are not documented. They violate the law, and we know we deal with that. There's a fine line, and it may step on some of your toes, but I guess I promise you, if you'll follow me and see where we come from and what we're doing, I'm not letting anybody get away that should not, that I know.
Just one other thing on that. I've had a lot of people call about this. We've got zeros from the federal government about what's going on. Zero. We hadn't heard anything, and neither has Greensboro PD. And of course, it'll fall in Greensboro's jurisdiction. And we're trying to figure out how they're going to provide security, because not only will people be upset that they're here, some of those people may be criminals that are coming in. We don't know. But they haven't told us any information about how they plan to run this operation. They have hired a big conglomerate that provides security and everything. And we've heard nothing, neither has the city of Greensboro, about how they plan to pull this deal off.
Let me say this to you. We've been watching the news, because I have. We're seeing what's going on, how they're moving people around, dropping people off in different cities, different states. The federal government does what they do. They really do. And what we have to do is make sure that we protect our own home. And I promise you I do that. What's going to happen at the Hebrew Academy, I don't know. But once and if and how we get the information, we will definitely deal with it. So we have to deal with it. Please hear me. I am bound by law. I just can't break the law because I think, oh, I won't do this. I can do it. Anybody else? Look, I want to thank y'all so very much. I really do. I hope there's a lot of questions that you have. I know you have them. There's some stats. If you go onto our website, I do the end of the year, every year. Have done it for the last 3 years at the sheriff's office. The stats, the yearly progress that we have made as the sheriff's organization. The sheriff's organization is a business, an $80 million a year business. And I have to run it like that with the great help of Chief Parr, the team that sit at the table, and many other people that are not here. I do not do this by myself, and I will never take this credit by myself. I thank you all so very much. God bless you, and I love you dearly. Thank you.